We were ridiculous, you know, when we were coming up. And by we, I mean me and my friend. This particular time, I was working as a program director for a weight loss company that's still actually very popular to this day. My friend, who I'll call Princess because she was given the world. I mean, her father was in the upper levels in a major government. I'm not going to say too much more than that because if I do, people will know who I'm talking about. She had everything that she wanted, and you know, she was a lot of fun. She was really down to earth. But we were young and we were making a lot of money, and she was spoiled for so long that I think her parents got tired of giving her. So I think they wanted to show her a little bit of responsibility. So she had to get a job, and I got her a job working with me. We working together, we hanging out in the clubs and all that. Around this time, you know, I'm dibbling and dabbling, trying to find out if I'm gay, if I'm straight, if I'm bisexual. Since found out that I love who I love, so I don't like to put labels on it. But at that time, I was in the wings. This is the year of girls. You know, I'm dating girls this year. We had a rule, me and the Princess, and the rule was whenever we go out, one person couldn't be as drunk as the other person because one person had to drive home. That was the rule. I mean, it's ridiculous, but it was the rule. So we know we both want to drink. Both of us can't be pissy drunk. And it was actually my turn to turn up, and we went to a very popular gay club out in DC that's since been closed, but it was popular back then. So we went to this club, and we get in there, and she's getting extra drunk, you know, and at this time I'm pissed because I'm like, bitch, the rules said it was my time. I mean, she getting drunk, but she can barely walk. I pulled her out of the club. I was actually had her car instead of my car because it was her time to drive. So I help her in the car, and she's throwing up, you know, outside, you know, next to her car. I open the passenger seat for her. She's throwing up there, and I'm just so mad because number one, I wasn't ready to leave. I was dating this girl who I'm going to call the Dom. I was dating the Dom, and I wanted to see her, and she hadn't came to the club yet. I'm going to miss the Dom. She's going to go inside. She's going to book somebody else, and I'm going to be looking crazy. So I'm like really, really upset with her. I have to pause real quick because in my life, throughout my life, and I'm going to tell a lot of these stories, but throughout my life, there have been times where things happen so that I go the other way. I know that it happens for everybody, but now when I look at it, and because I'm so in tune with that presence and that force right now, I know what it was back then, but there have been times where things would happen to say, do this because if you do something else, it's trouble. When she threw up, what I was supposed to do was leave. I was supposed to leave, take her home. My car was at her house, and then go home. I didn't. She can't go back inside, so now I know I gotta take her home. But as I was leaving, since I had waited so long, I surpassed the time necessary for me to leave, and without anything happening. Now, I'm gonna have to take her home by myself, but because I'm always protected, there's always some kind of force or something protecting me. The Dom pulled up and was like, you know, what are you doing? I said, you know, Princess is over there sick, throwing up. We gotta take her to the house. So she was like, look, I'm gonna follow you. You come back into my car, and then we come back to the club. So I was like, cool, you know, at least I'm gonna have some good fun. Instead of taking my ass home. And the moment we get to her house, which is some apartment complexes out in the Suitland area, she opens the door and throws up again. So apparently, I didn't know at the time because, you know, she always had a ride. But apparently she was driving her aunt's car. And she didn't want her aunt to know that she had gotten sick. But she threw up on all of her clothes. The Dom, she had on like 4 or 5 t-shirts. So she took off one of her t-shirts and gave it to her, which was extra long on the Princess. The Princess puts the shirt on. As she's putting the shirt on, a dude walks up. And he scared me. Like, before he even talked, he scared me, and I hadn't even seen him. Like, there was something about him that scared me. I can feel energy. I always could feel it, but I didn't know what it was until now. But when I recall, I know exactly what it was. So, and then he said, oh, I thought y'all was somebody else. And I was like, no, we're not somebody else. Go. I was loud and firm, but I was scared. He walked off. Another instance, God is saying, look, just hurry up and do what y'all doing and get out of here. Instead of listening, spend some more time in the parking lot trying to get her to be sober or whatever. After she finally got herself together, I told Dom, look, let me walk her up to her apartment because I don't want her to be by herself, and I'll come back here. So she was like, cool. She pulled up and she said, I'll be right here. It only took like 15, 20 steps. It wasn't that many steps at all. suddenly she beeps her horn and pulls off. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you pulling off? You know, when you know you're supposed to be waiting on me. When I turned around, I saw 5 or 6 guys. 3 or 4 of them had shirts over their heads. The main one, the leader, had his face, you know, his face wasn't covered. You know, so I know what this man looks like to this day if I saw him. And they all had guns. And the dude that's coming for me, or coming for us without his face being protected, has a sawed-off shotgun. He said, get down on the ground. You know what time it is. So we get down on the ground. And now the way these apartments were made, there's an open field in the center. And around this open field are apartment buildings. So I know somebody had to see this shit. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it was just ridiculous. You know, that all these guys got 2 girls on the ground. One wearing a long shirt. One with jeans and a shirt on. Laying outside on the ground. So he's going through her purse, and I don't have a purse. And as I noticed he's going through her purse, I saw money on the ground. They don't want money. They want something else. They took us toward the back of the apartment complex, and where, you know, you can go no further. It's surrounded by brush, trees, and there's a gate. And behind the gate is a cemetery. There's a cemetery over there. So I'm like, oh my God, they're about to rape us. And that's exactly what they did. They gang raped my friend, Princess. One of them made me commit oral sex, you know, and it was horrifying. And they're doing this while they're holding guns to our head. And I just knew I was going to die. Like, I'm like, this is it. You know, I had to be about 25. Like, the worst things that happened to me in my life happened in my 20s. Because in my 30s, outside of one major incident, which I'll talk about, you know, later, I'm sure. In my 30s, I started to get the point, you know, that I couldn't live the wild life because I'm supposed to do something. It could be writing, but I have a feeling that it's not even writing. I have a feeling that whatever I'm supposed to do is much more profound than that. But then all of a sudden, I heard bomb, 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 bomb. And I saw sirens through the trees. And the main dude who didn't have his face covered said, do not move. If y'all move, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna kill you. And him and all his friends jumped over the fence and ran away. When I saw the sirens and I heard the horn, I told Princess to get up, but Princess is like shaking. She's like, no. I said, get up, bitch. We gotta get out of here. So we get up and walk to the cops. Come to find out that the Dom went and got the police. The reason she got the police was because while I was walking Princess up to her apartment, they had came to the Dom's car, and they were going to take the car, wait for me to come back, and then only God knows what would have happened. After that, we ended up going to the rape clinic. You know, they did a bunch of tests on us, you know, a lot of precautions and things like that. But I think that was the moment that changed my life majorly, to tell me to like slow down. But it took me a while to get up. I was down for a long time after that. But yeah, that was a major period in my life where I said something has to shift. And I wasn't no angel even after that, but I realized that something had to shift in terms of, you know, my wildness. Because a wild child, you've never met a more wild child than me when I was coming up. So that was the story that I want to tell you guys. Come back for more. I have many stories, and I haven't even got into all the other stories I'm gonna tell you. I mean, like, it's gonna be stories for days. So come back. Love you guys. Be safe and take care of each other, and I will see you soon. Bye.